Halloween is not for the faint of heart. Fear and terror will consume all those who least expect it. The Power Glove, EA, Red Ring of Death, Zynga, Xbox One. What more could possibly frighten you?
Welcome to Respawn TV. This week we got our special video game Halloween episode, and I think it's going to be real fun. I'm here as a motorized patriot from BioShock Infinite. Joined with us is Moose Bland as...
Moose Bland.
Oh.
I cannot breathe in this face mask, so bear with me. I'm sorry my audio is terrible.
Frightening.
Yeah, that.
Yes, frightening audio. The next thing we're going to cover here is video game news. We're going to cover here just for you, special for this week, the 5 terrifying horror games of 2013.
That's this year.
Yes, that is the year that is currently happening. So we have had quite a few horror games happen through here, and it's hard to be memorable. Like, it's hard to come back at the end of the year and look at them and say which one is the best.
True.
But we've chosen some that we say are notable enough to be in the top 5 for us. And the first up here... This is not in any particular order, by the way. First up is going to be Dead Space 3, which we covered actually last year in Respawn. We started talking about it, and now it's officially out. I've never been scared of games where you can just shoot the enemy, but the first one was kind of off-putting at first. Then it got kind of boring. But this one, Dead Space 3 in general, didn't get very good sales because it was too casual. It wasn't scary enough. They toned it down to get more audience. And they added co-op, which really, when you have another person in there laughing, it's not scary at all.
True.
So,
I mean, with horror games, I say go big or go home. Mm-hmm. If they can't handle it, I would, as a developer, I would strive to make a game that people don't want to play because they're so scared of it. But, right. I mean, if you're going to tone it down, then you might as well not make it, especially if you're trying to be memorable. But that's just this Scream Scarecrow face mask person's idea with the great hair.
EA Games, actually, for that title, they place huge requirements on how many games they have to sell and how many games they should put out into the market. And Dead Space 3 did not breach the, I think it was 1.2 million that it had to sell. So a sequel to that series may not be happening from this point forward, which is a shame because they could bring it back.
And they could probably do it better. Mm-hmm. Anyway.
And next up after that is the indie game Outlast, which just came out at the beginning of October.
Right. And you're not really equipped with any weapons per se. You only get a couple of things that...
Mainly your camcorder.
Yeah, which is essential. And if I do believe there's some type of ghost demon thing that you can only see with the what is it I want to say infrared of your camera.
Yeah, that invisible one. That was a really cool thing there.
That's really crazy.
That game went for the gore. It went for the outlandish big it's people that are really destroyed and stuff and sewn up and things. It released around the same time as the new Amnesia: The Dark Descent this year, so people are comparing the two a lot.
Yeah.
Amnesia: A Machine for Pigs, it was called. It kind of got some mediocre reviews because it was more story-based and less monsters.
And see, I read the stories of both, and they're kind of similar in the way of not really being able to have...
So you read about Machine for Pigs as well?
Not necessarily, just the chunk of the franchise as for Daniel and Alexander and how that became. But if I'm not mistaken, Outlast is with the Reporter, right?
Yes, Outlast is with the Reporter. It seems... It's got, I've seen it played, it's got little details that I really like when you step in a blood pool, your foot is leaving footprints of blood for a while, and you got little sounds of your clothes moving around. I really it's just the small things in that game that really bring out what it really is a big deal for an indie game.
Coming up next is also Among the Sleep, which is where you play as a 2-year-old helped alongside by a teddy bear, which is different from what we know, especially the first two, or Amnesia, as well as Outlast. Is very different in the fact that you're in the imagination of a 2-year-old. So that kind of throws me off.
Yeah, I like the different character there because there's nothing that makes you feel more, able to be attacked and harmed and physically not prepared for what you're going to face than a 2-year-old. Especially when in game playthroughs, people had to bring across boxes and things and stack those up to open a door because they couldn't reach the door handle.
And see, it also plays off of the imagination of what we would call a typical 2-year-old, which is also, very grappling to the gamer, being that, you never really know what's reality and what's not reality. So
They got an overactive imagination, and I like how it plays into that. We also have Daylight, which is coming to PS4 and PC in early 2014, so it's not officially released yet, but it has been talked about. And it's an interesting title. It's you play as a woman who regains consciousness in a hospital. I am assuming it's kind of maybe like Amnesia and Outlast.
that's what I got from
That's what
it,
I got
especially
from it,
with all you get is the cell phone. And I didn't really accidentally read it, but from the ending, I'm not going to really spoil it for you, but the ending is something somewhat interesting. It's kind of like a downer, but
Yeah,
I guess it's for...
It's got the same formula
Yeah.
as a lot of games in horror nowadays, where you are defenseless and you're scared more of the things you can't see than the things that you can. And when
Yeah.
it finally happens, you poop your pants.
scared of the unknown,
Yeah,
almost. And
But that's a good thing. It works. If it's a good formula, keep using it.
yeah, until you
Until
get
the
low
trend
sales,
dies
then
off, yeah. An old favorite from past few years. We've had different iterations of this, but Slender: The Arrival. Slender was a free PC game that was gotten a cult following, really popular on YouTube and things like that. Where it's another thing where there's something following you, it's the Slender Man, and you
Yeah.
can't really tell when it'll catch you, and it will move when you aren't looking at it. But if you look at it, you're going to go nuts and you're going to die eventually.
Yeah.
But there's a new one now that's going to be in abandoned areas, new levels, a lot more intricate, I guess. And
yeah, they also have a secret level, whereas there's this missing child's poster on the side of some trees, and if you find that, it'll take you to a whole new level where the floor is not rendered and some other things aren't rendered, so it just kind of takes you to a whole nother level of crazy. And in this one, it's actually someone's friend goes missing, and she investigates the house, and then she hears a scream
so
of
there's
her
an
friend.
actual plot this
Yeah.
time around.
Yeah.
All right, so it's like people, if you're still into Slender and you want to have a full game plot experience,
It's a nice little plot. I like it.
okay, then yeah, go try that, definitely. Yeah, we were talking about this before the show. Are we?
The Nintendo 64, also known as the N64, is Nintendo's third home video game console for the international market. Named for its 64-bit central processing unit, it was released in September 1996 in North America. As part of the fifth generation of gaming, it primarily competed with the PlayStation and Sega Saturn. Succeeded by Nintendo's GameCube in November 2001, the N64 consoles continued to be produced until its discontinuation in North America on November 30th, 2003. The Nintendo 64 was released with the launch of two games, Super Mario 64 and Pilot Wings 64. The N64's suggested retail price in the US was $200 at its launch and was later marketed with the slogan, "Get in or get out." The console was ultimately released in a range of different colors and designs, and an assortment of limited edition controllers were sold or used as contest prizes during the N64's lifespan. The N64 sold 32.93 million units worldwide, and in 2009, it was named the 9th greatest video game console by IGN. Time magazine named it their 1996 Machine of the Year award. Some of the Nintendo 64's most popular games are The Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time, Super Mario 64, GoldenEye 007, Banjo-Kazooie, Tony Hawk Pro Skater, Rayman 2: The Great Escape, Super Smash Bros., Madden NFL 99, Resident Evil 2, and Mario Kart 64.